So Denzing, welcome to today's Sports Talk by Sports Paddock. I'll be your host for today. My name is Sunaina. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Sunaina.
So I'm sure everyone already knows about your enthusiastic and very passionate background in football. And it's established also that you found out your calling about being a football enthusiast. But what I'd like to dig in a little more towards is, how did you figure out that your passion was football and football coaching? Like, where did it all start? And how did you pave your own path to pursue this career?
That's a good question to start off with. So I grew up watching Manchester United, and then they were my major influence. And seeing Alex Ferguson, it was kind of a different level of motivation. So that was my major influence. That means outside of India, something like that. And my very close influences were my own brother, who was playing for zonal level in Chennai, and then my school coach named Mr. Dina. So these were my very close influences to get into this game. And then slowly, I got attracted to the game, I should say. And then learning the basics from my brother. I actually started late, and when I started late, and
how late was this?
Around my 9th or 10th standard, I was playing regularly, but still it was late. And then I was more into coaching. I was interested in coaching than playing, even from my school days. And having very close influences and seeing Alex Ferguson, and it was a very good experience. And I was visualizing this dream kind of, and I wanted to have this. And I thought about this really early. And when I wanted to consciously start working on a career during my school days at 10th or 11th, and I was thinking about it. All these influences drove me here. So I should say it was a very simple transition, which I didn't know the nuances of it at that moment, the complexities of it. But maybe that was a thing which pushed me towards it, I should say.
So you had a lot of people backing you up, basically.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people and very close people who were really focused on my improvement. And then during my college days, I did something. I wrote a mail to my director seeking the job of the assistant coach. I didn't know what the requirements or what the things they'll expect from me. But still, I wrote a mail, and they replied to me, and they set up a meeting with our physical director. And then he went on to discuss what their plans were, and why I should gain experience with kids or with under 15s or under 13s, and then come back to the senior setup. And then I understood that, and then they redirected me to another coach who had an academy near to our university. And then I went on to coach them for around 8 months with kids, and then that's how it all started. So it started somewhere, but it ended somewhere. But still, achieved. Yeah. And then I came to know what is involved in this.
So was the path laid out for you, or did you have to sort of ask a lot of people?
It wasn't laid out, and I wasn't able to ask people other than this meeting which I had with my sports director. I didn't have many other people to ask for a mentor to, because I didn't have the playing experience needed, and I didn't have the contacts. So I had to build my own network, which happened on the way. And sometimes I had to do it intentionally to build network. I had to talk to people, I had to contact others, and then that's how it all started with. But still, the experience which I gained there made me realize why it is always this transition is important. So starting from kids and then moving to the senior setup, and that's all it started with. And then I went on to coach some teams in Bangalore also, the Baichung Bhutia football schools I work for, and it was a really great experience. Yeah. And then I switched to the amateur league, where I worked with Warriors FC 2 seasons, and then Friday FC, and then Supernova FC. All these teams I got a chance to work with.
So you've had a lot of experience. You've dipped your toes in like multiple places where you've got a lot of exposure. But did you know in the beginning for sure that this is what you wanted to do? I mean, choosing coaching and education as compared to maybe another corporate job, which most people would intend to go to because it's a lot safer, there's stability and a whole lot of other reasons. Why did you choose football since it's still pretty nascent in India? Like, what made you take such a big decision?
Yeah, so from the decisions perspective, I should say that the change in me was the way I was attracted to football football was more an intrinsic way rather than an extrinsic way. So by intrinsic way, I mean like my understanding of football as a tool to reach out to people and how it has a power to change people's lives. So this part of football inspired me a lot, and I was really attracted to that part. And then I started to think about what it can do it for me. So maybe if I had a reverse approach of first thinking about what it does for me and then what I can do for people, I'm not sure if I would have had the motivation to quit that job and jump. It would have been a really tough decision, but I feel this worked for me. And when I reflect back on those decisions, then it feels, yeah. So the intrinsic motivation, it was the main cause of this, the whole decision behind it. It wasn't easy at all. It was a tough decision,
I'm
but
sure.
yeah, it's a very tough decision. And considering, as you said, it's in the nascent stages, it's a very tough decision, but still, for me, this worked. The intrinsic motivation was more than the extrinsic. Yeah.
And when you took this decision and working with various teams in India and working with various academies, what about outside? What was your experience like when you were studying for your UEFA C license? Being in an international environment, I'm sure you must have seen stark differences in terms of coaching, training methods. Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah. So once again, this where it all started with, how it gave a meaning to me. So I should say that here. So when I was working in that academy in Chennai, I had a chance to meet Mr. Vivek Nagu. He was the assistant coach of Chennai in FC, the ISL team. And then I met him. That was over in Chennai. And then again, I met him when I was working in Bangalore. And then he remembered me, and he encouraged me and how it was going and everything. And I told I'm looking to do some licenses outside of India. And then he gave me a contact. And from that contact, I already did some basic research. And from there, again, I took this step to go there. I applied for it and I got selected. And it was a 5 days course, very tightly packed course. And then this was specifically designed for international applicants, so that we can complete and wrap it up in a week. So that's how it was designed. And then there were 2 prerequisites to the course, which we had to do there also as part of the course, which was the first aid and the safeguarding. So this safeguarding was something that was totally different to what we have seen in India. So they have a separate safeguarding officer who takes care of the communication between the players and parents and the coaches. So these things were relatively new information to me. And talking about the differences, the one thing which blew my mind was the amount of emphasis they put on the individual's psychological needs. So basically, in the football coaching terms, the long-term athletic development model, they say. So it is divided into 4 corners. So one is your technical, what individual skills as a player you possess, and then the tactical, how you gel well with the team using your individual skills, how you gel well with the team, and then the physical is your fitness, simple as that. And then the last one is psychological. So the psychological part, it has been ignored for a very long time. Even through this whole evolution of football, the psychological part on how the athlete thinks and how he takes the information, all these things have been not paid much attention to
in India.
So that in India and also overall abroad also. So the amount of emphasis they put on that was really mind blowing. And then even during the evaluation of my practical exams, 2 practical exams, and then they were keenly noticing on what I was communicating to the individuals when I was giving the feedbacks. So every detail was very keenly noticed, and that surprised me actually. And then I learned the importance of how to sandwich the praise, sandwich the praise, as in, if I'm going to make a correction, if I'm going to make a correction to you, I won't come and say, see, what you did was wrong. You can't do this. First, I'll appreciate you for what you did right. Something which should be very genuine. So you did this part right, and this part needs a little bit of improvement, and then you can carry on. So this is how the feedback should be layered. So these all details, I learned it there, and it was really helpful and useful. And I learned the importance of why we should connect with an individual before correcting them. I cannot go to a random team and just shout instructions. The importance of connection. and then the correction part. So I learned that very well there. And then the feedbacks and the sandwich praise, all this were really, really helpful throughout my journey till now.
No, that's amazing. And I think such key factors like psychological aspect is very important, because that's where I think you start improving any athlete, right? If you have that connect with them and that's through their psyche, you can only start improving them. Otherwise, why would anyone like just listen to you? It's very hard to build that. So I think that's brilliant. And since you've seen what is there abroad in terms of quality, the training, the type of coaching, you've seen the kind of quality that's there in India as well, right? Even though the quality and the level of coaching is improving in India, we still have a few things or setbacks that we fall on, right? So what are your suggestions or improvements that can help fasten this trajectory?
Okay, so again, this question, from my point of view, what I see is the lack of matches, the lack of competitions, which we have in India. That I feel is a major concern, which needs to be addressed as soon as possible. The reason being, because everybody says the players need some experience.
At what level? At the grassroots level or early player development
level.
or every level?
Every level. The match experience is the ultimate thing which you train for. And when we don't have that ultimate thing, there is no point in training, and we don't have a goal to train for. We have a match day and we need to prepare ourselves. So that's how the training plan should be. But since we don't have that, then the lack of matches is again becoming an issue, and we are forced to train without a goal, and even the players will be bored with that, without something which they want to do. Everyone wants to play a match, and without that happening, they will lack that motivation. And also one more important thing is the match day management. It's very important skill for a coach to have, match day management and the analytical skills of seeing and understanding what goes on at the moment and making the necessary changes. And also,
you mean if training sets are implemented during matches?
It's a gauge to measure how the training performance is being transferred to this game. So if this transfer is not, if you are not able to analyze this, then we are training for nothing. So that's what. So this matches, the analytical skills, all this has to be will be in place if there are enough number of matches, and we have to appreciate the role of the amateur league in this. Not only for this is what I tell to the coaches also, to tell them to take a team and train them, because you have lots of chances in amateur league to you can coach a team. And
I mean,
this will be a very good experience. This will be a very good experience in a career.
No, definitely. And thank you so much for talking about TAL That Way, the amateur league, because we want to provide this platform to help such players, both professionally and semi-professionally, to sort of still stay in touch with the game, improve their skill, and maybe even reach higher goals if they get scouted out by like professional recruiters. And you spoke about how you've actually coached teams in TAL, and you've also mentioned in your bio that you had your major breakthrough also in TAL. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so this also again has a bit of a backdrop story, where one of my friends met with a player named Saravana Kumar, so he's called a Sarva. So he had met him somewhere, and then they were discussing about football, and then this particular team which Sarva was representing, were in need of a coach. And then they had lost their first 4 matches, and they were looking for someone to come and organize them a bit. And then I met him. We had a conversation for around 2 hours of how we can go ahead with the things and how we can fix this and how we can settle things down. And then I went on, and then I watched the match. I took some notes, and then we organized a session before the match. And from there, we started everything out as a new team, putting our results behind. The 4 matches was a loss, first 4, and starting the fifth match. So the roles and responsibilities to each and every player, I clearly drew out everything, and then what will be carried out by each and everyone. And then we brought in some more players, and we had to change the dynamics of the team because of that. There were players who were playing in the wrong positions or something like that. But but on the contrary, they were a very exceptional team. They lost 4 games, but still the team was exceptional. They were coping up really well with the practices. And as a breakthrough, why I see it as a breakthrough is because I was given the freedom to do anything in the team. to change formations or change players, do anything. So as a beginner coach, I was really surprised by their approach because we don't get to have those
That
final
much of
say.
leeway.
Yeah, exactly. And Sarva gave me the full control of the team, and the players also accepted that. And we played different systems each week, 3 at the back or 4 at the back or 5 at the back, based on the opponent. We kept on changing. And it worked for us really well. And then we went on to win 7 games, and we drew 1 match after that. So we started
Wow.
out. It turned out to be a very good season for us, and players individually, they were really exceptional. All the credits goes to them. And even when our players were injured, even some of the players were injured, we had to make a makeshift defense. I had to play a player in defense, a midfield player in defense. But still, after I asked for, he didn't even hesitate for a moment. He did his role.
Wow.
These things I'll never forget. And we had many comebacks also, considering 2 goals and then scoring 3 in the second half. And then one solo goal scored by Sarva, which still remains in my mind. He dribbled past 4 or 5 players, and then he saw a small gap, and then he finished through that. So all these were really exceptional. That too, considering this as the first season in charge of a team in the amateur league, and we were awarded the best emerging team of the season, and also they gave me an award for this best coach of the season.
Obviously, I mean, I think this is huge. It is really big. And I'm sure you would have had a lot of learnings as well, since you had practical experience with this team, right?
Yeah, exactly. So once again, it was really tough to travel because I was located in Electronic City, and I had to travel all the way to FSP. It was around 90
Oh my
kilometers.
God. Oh my God.
And so now thinking back, we had practice sessions in the evening, and I used to travel from there, and I used to go back. But
My
now
God.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that, if I will be able to replicate the same thing. But yeah, so the team was very interested, and I traveled all the way from there to take the sessions. From the evening, I started around 5 or 5:30 and reached here by 8, and then we start to practice, and then again I start back from here to there. So the support of them, it was really easy for me.
And I'm sure they were very grateful to you as well. I mean, to travel that long, and that too in a place like Bangalore, it's not the easiest thing to do with its traffic and its roads, everything. So I think that's something the team also will appreciate in you a lot. And I think this is, like you said, it gave you a good base to sort of build on in terms of experimenting and implementing everything that you learned. And clearly you got the results out of it. And as and when you moved on, you got a chance, and you're currently working as an assistant coach in the under 15 Chennai City FC squad, right?
Yeah.
So now, since you're working with a professional, like a good professional league squad, what are your current learnings in terms of milestones and challenges that you faced?
Okay, from the milestones perspective, or from how this transition occurred. So first thing, I should be grateful to Town for giving me that opportunity. And also secondly, I met the coach who invited me for the interview here at TAL. So his name was Maurya, who invited me to the interview there. I met him. So we had a kind of conversation there, and then we introduced ourselves. And then till now, we have a very good professional relationship between ourselves. So this started here also again. So
Lovely.
each story connects, all the dots are connected here. And then from here, he invited me there. And I thought, okay, I'll just give it a try. I won't have any expectations. I'll do my best. And then Chennai City were tied up with FC Basel, a Switzerland team. And then they had brought in their head coach, the technical director from Swiss, to lead the project in India. So he was the one who interviewed us. His name is Massimo, and he was there to interview all of us. And to be interviewed and getting selected by a guy of that stature, he's a UEFA Pro license coach, and he has seen it all. He has played for FC Basel, and he has represented them for. He is a one club man. He's represented around 605 times, if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
And he's played in all. So that's something to be selected, interviewed by him was itself is a experience which I would cherish forever. And then to be working under him, but due to COVID, the plans were cut short, and he had to leave back. But still, the amount of learning, the experience, the professionalism he showed, and the commitment, and keeping the things simple and giving us new perspectives every day was really astonishing. That's when I saw someone like a massive experience. So who is used to deal with players of very prodigy players or exceptional players, and then he is showing you that experience. He won't teach you, like he will lead by example. So he won't tell you the basics.
That's the right way.
Yeah, that's the right way. And with his maturity and with this understanding of the game, it was really a great experience. And my immediate head coach, his name was Solomon. So he's very well known in the Chennai footballing circles. And he was my immediate head coach, under 15 head coach. I work under him. And his insights and his feedbacks, and he was a mentor to me in all ways. He supported me because he knows that I have come from this background to here, and they have been working on the grassroots for very long. So he understood how what are the difficulties I'll face in this particular transition, and he helped me with that. And all these people, they don't teach you just keep teaching. They show you by actions, and I realized it there. And it's on and off the pitch. It's not only off the pitch or it's only on the pitch. It's both on and off the pitch. They will have that consistency, and they will show you the way to do it. And
Wow.
all these things I understood, and I'm really thankful for that. And we were a bunch of very young coaches. So that also the management for counting on us. Also credit goes to the management for counting on us, and also to Massimo to hire a very young group and then deciding to train us and make us learn things, which he is aware of.
So these are all the like ups and the positives that you had out of this. But did you go through any challenges being such a young recruitee?
No, I don't think I faced any challenges till now, because we had very limited training time due to this COVID. And
Okay.
and also considering us as a very young team, each one of us were very supportive, and it was really a friendly experience to go and talk to any of the guys who were involved and getting feedbacks from them, or getting suggestions on the session plans. They were very open to help, and it was a very friendly culture, what we have built on. So I
Lovely.
didn't face anything till now. Yeah, I would say that. So the group of coaches, the bunch was really young and very energetic bunch.
I think you've really found your place as to where you want to be in. So it's really lucky. And finally, I mean, this is, I think, what most of our viewers who are aspiring to become future coaches and educators will want to know. As an individual, if they're aspiring to become coaches or want to take up something like what you've done, what would you advise them or share with them, which would help them sort of take the right steps further?
Okay. I'm still in my formative stages of my career.
But still
but,
very far.
Yeah,
You've
yeah,
come very far.
very far. But I think so from where I am right now and what I've faced till now, what I can say is to work on some or the other level. We have to work. You have to just put in the work, and to never give up if you don't get an opportunity. You have so many opportunities to coach, and you have to take one, and you have to put everything on it. And also the amount of intrinsic motivation you need to have should come from multiple mediums. It shouldn't be focused on one thing. You'll get bored easily, because the going gets tougher, and we have to be ready for all those challenges.
Definitely.
And considering that, so the amount of intrinsic motivation you have, and your work-life balance and all the things will be getting affected. So you have to be ready to take that risk and the challenge. As Marcelo Bielsa says, to coach is to have it's a privilege and a burden. So we have to focus more on the privilege, and then I would say ease. If you are feeling ease at some place, then you have to relocate. That's all. That's a very simple.
Oh, really?
Because if you're feeling it so easy, then you don't face the challenges. Ease is a greater threat to progress in this field than hardship, I would say, because hardships you will get used to, but ease will bring you down, will bring your motivation levels down. So we have to be always ready for a challenge. And if you settle, then I don't think you can aspire for very great. Yeah. So this is the other side of it. And then without commitment, we'll never start, and without consistency, we'll never finish. So the importance of all these two things should be very balanced, and that is a way to go about it. And still, I haven't faced much challenges, so maybe the things I say might not be relevant to some, but this is how it goes. Yeah,
I'm sure you have. It's just that I think you had a very positive outlook to it, and you didn't consider them as challenges. You just took it as, okay, this is a new learning for me. Like, what's next? So I think that's a very positive way to look at it.
I expected those challenges also. Before I started, I made mind that I will face this. Maybe the worst thing will be this, and maybe the worst thing will be that, but I won't give up. So this is just a personal thing and which works for me, but each one will have a different trigger or a different stimuli for which they'll get triggered on. So we should find that. That's all.
Wow, that's such a great way to look at it. And I think all our future coaches and trainers will look at it this way, that they have to be ready for anything. And I'm sure pandemic has also hit everyone in their own way in terms of cut down of like training sessions where they want to be. But like you said, be patient and just keep striving. Don't stop. If there's no opportunity, it'll come. Stay committed, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that'll be
So
the
I think,
one
Denzing,
thing.
you've given a great talk about this, and thank you so much for sharing your stories, and especially about TAL. That was very heartwarming to let the TAL community know that you've come up so high in life and you've got so many opportunities. So I hope more people also look at this and strive bigger, harder, and better. So thank you, Denzing.
Thank you, Suman.